Hello, everybody listening to the Fairweather Podcast. It's your boy 2K Suave. I'm here with my dog A-Rob, Mr. Julius Randle, Mr. RJ Barrett, Mr. Patrick Ewing, Mr. John Starks, Chris Childs, Mr. Charlie Ward, Mr. Latrell Sprewell, Allen Houston. Ooh, I'm giving you Mr. Walt Frazier. Mr. Messed Up Leg came back and scored 2 points, but everyone calls him a hero.
You just run down all the Knicks now, huh, man?
Yo, Mr. Mello, stay mellow.
Might as well put Eddie on there too.
Eddie Curry, that horrible contract.
Or Eddie, Whoopi Goldberg coaching them all out there, huh?
Eddie, oh, remember Stacey Patton? You remember?
And yeah,
Stacey Patton don't play like that.
Remember that? I remember that squad, man.
Yo, Eddie, well, Whoopi, so I used to come home from school, and it was always on like Showtime or HBO because at that time we just got DirecTV, and we got like the free 3-month trial or whatever, and every day it was always on. I'm like, yo, Whoopi Goldberg is coaching the New York Knicks. What the hell's going on? That was like one of my favorite movies to watch. Stacey Patton, don't play like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna need her as a bench coach, man, because Eddie had the squad right then at that time.
Yeah, she had him playing. Spike Lee to get y'all playing.
Spike, man, I'm happy. I'm happy for these boys, man. They lost by 2, but they play tonight. Hopefully, we can get some revenge game in the Garden.
Hopefully, you can do the right thing, like Spike Lee said.
Do the right thing always, yeah, man. But Spike, I love Spike. He just be getting so hype, and when I see him so happy, bad things happen. I hate.
He pisses off. He pisses off the opponent.
He does, and
it's his fault. Reggie Miller killed y'all,
and I'll never forget that.
It's his fault. Anthony Davis told y'all to shh a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it's. I'm happy his energy is good for the team. It's just as soon as I see good things happening with the team and Spike got his chair and he's on the opposite end of the floor,
yeah,
I know what's gonna happen, man. Somebody is gonna make a big shot, and it's just all gonna go down here. But hey, our teams play tonight, game 2.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see them 7:30. I'll be watching the background as we do this. But we're on episode 23 now. 23.
The big LeBron number. Y'all gonna say MJ? I'm gonna say the LeBron number.
I'm gonna say that MJ number, but 23, whatever you want it to be, man.
That's cool.
So today's episode, we are discussing the Julio Jones saga and how nonchalant this has been going on. And I feel like it's really under the radar. Like, this is a big name, household name that wants out, and Atlanta's just like, yeah, okay.
The thing is that I didn't even think anyone knew he wanted out. They just kept dangling his name saying they were going to trade him. Yeah. But then Uncle Shannon Sharp from Undisputed Fox Sports 1 was like, call him on live TV, like, hey, nephew, it's your favorite uncle. He said, I'm out of there. Oh, shit.
Oh, you know I'm out of there, yeah.
I was like, what? Yo, I've never been, in my lifetime, I've watched a lot of live TV and sports. That was probably one of the funnier moments because I was shocked that it was actually happening. Because I'm like, there's no way he knew this phone call was about to happen.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, let me put you on speaker or whatever, or whatever, Bluetooth, whatever he put him on. And then Skip's in the background like, yo, yeah, ask him about the Cowboys. Like, I'm like, yo, what the hell is this shit? This is weird.
Yeah, so we're going to discuss the Julio Jones saga and how players calling into TV shows or talking to TV shows, those type of situations and how they pan out. Because I think Aaron Rodgers did the same thing with Kenny Mayne too, and kind of cleared out the smoke about his situation in Green Bay.
Shout out to Kenny Mayne.
Yeah, we'll talk about LA and the playoffs. Who should be more scared, the Clippers or the Lakers? We'll discuss both of those teams, what they got to do to get back on the rails and have a winning culture there with the team. And then we'll also talk about the young talent that's flourishing in the NBA right now. You're seeing Ja knocking out Steph, also winning game 1 against a Donovan Mitchell-less Jazz. We'll talk about Trae Young doing what he did against my team. And Luka's just putting on a show, man. Luka's literally putting on a show. He's going to be really, really good. And I think the NBA is in good hands with these players taking the torch from the greats that will be exiting soon in the next couple of years. Mm-hmm. And then our fun segment we have at the very end, we're going to talk about our favorite one-on-one rivalries in sports. So we'll pick some one-on-one rivalries between different players, and go about that, and we'll give you the rundown on who we think are those in our brains. So that's going to be the show for the day. So let's kick it off with the Julio Jones saga. For those who don't know, Julio Jones has stated that he wants out of Atlanta. It's been very, very under the radar, and we all kind of got all the smoke and was cleared when he went on Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless's show and basically said, "Yeah, I'm not going to be there. I'm out." So Julio Jones is a free agent. Airing it out on TV, is that a good way for players to go about their business? Because the way I see this, I know you're going to touch on Aaron Rodgers too on the whole situation as well. Uh, I think it's good because why keep things a secret? If we know that's what's going on and there's mutual interest there, I feel like you have the right to tell. So Atlanta's
Yeah.
been cool with this for apparently a couple months now, and they've been shopping him, and we just been like, oh, this happens every year. We'll dangle our best player out there. What can we get for him? But this is actually coming to fruition. Like he wants out,
Mm-hmm.
and he's gonna get his way. They're gonna facilitate something. So,
Yeah.
what do you think about the situation of players airing their trade demands out on social media or on television?
It's 2021. The way we used to do things in 1970, 80, 90, and 2005 are not the same way we're doing things this year. You know what I'm saying? Like just think about music. Back in the day, you have to do this, that, and the third before you even get to the radio. Now you just post your shit on SoundCloud or TikTok and you blow up overnight, right?
Yeah.
Same. So if you kind of adapt that kind of to sports, it's the same concept. Like at the end of the day, a lot of times we get mad because everything that we hear about a professional athlete comes from sources. It comes from agents. It comes from, an unknown, anonymous source, right? And
Exactly.
a lot of times, like I just want to hear it from the horse's mouth. Like, why am I hearing Chris Broussard saying my sources or Stephen A. Smith saying my friend that knows things? Like, I don't want to hear that. I want to hear it straight from the horse's mouth. Because, like, again, we're going to touch on Aaron Rodgers, right? For the
Mhm.
longest time, we're like, Aaron Rodgers does not like Jordan Love and this, that, and the third. He went on Kenny Mayne. He was like, no, no, no. It has nothing to do with Jordan Love. It has nothing to do with he likes Jordan Love. He likes the players. He likes his coaching staff. But at least when Aaron Rodgers went on, he let you know what his issue was, and now we can actually really assess that issue. Julio Jones, all we heard for the last, because Julio's quiet. He
Yeah.
doesn't really. You for the last, he's been in the league what 13 years now, 14 years, something like 13 years, right? He's one of the greatest receivers of all time. If we're going to be honest, right? He's a modern day. He's probably the best receiver we've had in the last 15 years. And he does, and for the reputation receivers get, their divas, they talk too much, blah blah blah. Julio is the complete opposite of that. He doesn't talk a lot. He doesn't act up. You don't hear nothing about him in the news. So for us to get that insight into what his mind was, because all I was hearing was, we're going to trade Julio. We're thinking, no. Sources say that the Falcons are thinking about trading Julio Jones. But then when Shannon Sharp got him on the phone, mind you, I heard there's like a whole legality thing about that, and that's another story for another day. But he kept it real. Like, yeah, I'm out of there, and I'm not going to the Cowboys. Okay, I repeat, Julio Jones is not going to the damn Cowboys. Okay, so y'all can get that dumbass dream out your brain. But either way, no offense to the Cowboy fans that listen to this, but either way, but it's nice to, look, man, it's 2021, man. I don't mind hearing it from the horse's mouth. I'm tired of hearing it from sources, like, because at the end of the day, we're just assuming that, I always I always have a problem with the media painting players a certain way, because at the end of the day, they control the narrative. That
Correct.
was the problem I used to have in the 90s, where like, and because I've been studying media my whole life. Like, it's something I've always wanted to do. So, like, we talk about Jordan, right? I feel like Jordan was romanticized heavily in the 80s and 90s, right? There wasn't no 24-hour news cycle. There wasn't no debate shows. There was none of that stuff. There was no social media. So I feel like Jordan got away with a lot because of the era that he grew up in. A lot of the older players, the Magics and the Larry Birds, and they got away with a lot because they didn't have to deal with the media on their ass 24/7. Now you have TMZ and Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith, and they'll paint the picture how they want you to paint the picture, which is why a lot of these former athletes have podcasts and stuff now, so they can start to control the narrative. So you'll see some of these guys go, like Jeremy Lin the other day. He went on All the Smoke podcast with Stephen A. and Matt Barnes to kind of just talk about his situation and that he still wants to play, and the hate that he was, like the Asian hate that he was getting and stuff like that. Like, you want to see players open up. So to me, the era that we live in now, you're just gonna have to get used to this. Like, I know it's gonna be weird for a lot of these old get off my lawn people, but this is the era that we live in. Like, we can't have the media always controlling the narrative because they'll have you think a certain way about a player, which is probably completely false. So that's where I'm at with that.
I agree with you 100% on that. I think Magic and Jordan in the 80s, they did have the media on their ass a lot, but it was more pictures, sit down interviews, things like that. And that was on you to conduct that, unless that was in your clause that you're going to do that. However,
but just sorry to cut you off, but like, I feel like what they used to do, they used to build up players a lot, and they're still kind of doing it now. They're doing it with Zion as we speak. They'll build you up so they can tear you down.
Absolutely. No, that's what I was going to get to, is that they're looking for something to point at and be like, oh, he wasn't as good as we thought, or this is the straw that broke the camel's back on this player. So what they had to do. It's like when Magic had AIDS, everybody was like, oh no, how are we going to take this now?
Yeah.
He had AIDS, we thought he was a family man, he did this, he slept with all these women, and that takes out of his character then at that point, because kids view him as a role model, and they try to tear you down because of that. But everybody is human. I have no animosity towards Magic's decisions or any player's decisions on what they do. That's their life. They can handle it that way. You have to learn to view things as the person and as the athlete that you admire and find those things.
Right.
So the way I see it is that we do have a lot of different social media outlets now. There's shit 24/7, people saying stuff, conjuring, talking shit about somebody, that we can start to develop conversations. And the best thing for this to happen is what we do, you and I. We give our own unbiased opinion on stuff. Well, it is kind of biased, but like our opinions on stuff. And what you said,
we might be biased, but we try. I feel like the whole point of what we try to do is try to give you as much factual information as possible. Yeah, I'm going to talk about the Eagles, but I'm going to be honest about the Eagles. I don't particularly like the Cowboys, but I'll be honest. I think the Cowboys are going to win the division next year. So it's not like we're going to tell you false stuff. Like, obviously, we're going to give you the real.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not Fox News. So, anyways, what I was trying to get at is the best thing is players now taking into this and making their own podcast. So now we get to see situations that they went through. We wanted to talk about Kwame Brown last episode.
Yes.
He may be coming out with some crazy shit that he's saying, but it's really insightful, some of the stuff he's saying, like the way Michael Jordan handled him and all of that, because now it kind of puts Michael at a chess move, like, okay, bro, your go. I want you to respond to this now. Because everybody's dying to know what Michael's side to this is. Like, dude, why did you draft this kid just to not even use him because you wanted to trade him for Elton Brand?
Crazy.
The president blocked it. It's all crazy. You can go out there and listen to it, but basically in a nutshell,
that's a really good point that you made. Like, Kwame Brown, I didn't know how his voice sounded up until a week and a half ago. I didn't know what he sounded like until a week and a half ago. So I've spent the last 20 years hearing every negative thing about Kwame Brown. Like, I personally made fun of him too, because that's what it was cool to. Stephen A. Smith made it cool. Skip, all these people made it cool to make fun of Kwame Brown. And then Kwame finally broke his silence. And I was like, wow, this is why we need to have players being able to kind of speak for themselves. Because Julio, I never hear Julio speak. But now I heard him speak. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Now I know where his mind is at. Aaron Rodgers, we were going off of what Adam Schefter was saying, but Aaron Rodgers cleared the air. Kwame Brown, same thing.
I mean, Kwame Brown's still trash. It's just I'm
It
happy
has
for.
nothing, but it
I know. I'm
still,
happy. I'm happy for the things he accomplished in life for his family,
yeah.
his mom, all of that. I'm happy for that. Is he a bust? Yes and no. I mean, we're going off the narrative and talking about
But
Kwame.
is it all right? Is it his
The
fault that he's a bust?
It is not his
Based
fault.
on what we know now, is it his fault?
Based on it's about 50-50. I would say it's a two-way street on this. Should he have
Imagine
been
being drafted. Imagine a company hiring you that didn't really want you.
exactly? That's where I say, is it the Wizards' fault for making that pick? Absolutely, and not giving him the chance. But he was traded other places when was given opportunities to shine. He still didn't do it. So he didn't live up to that potential. But should he have gone one? Probably not. But that's where he went.
You didn't see all those screens he set for Kobe when he dropped 81?
He did. What did he do? Did you remember
He
that?
was
Or do
dropping all the screens.
all I remember was Jalen Rose just running around left and right all night is what I remember that.
And Kwame was right there setting them screens on Jalen Rose. So
well, fuck, let's put him in the Hall of Fame as the greatest screen setter ever, man. We'll do that.
Hey, his screens get created 81 points. So let's go.
But my argument to all of this is that what basically piggybacking off of what you said, now that former athletes are having podcasts and shows or going on live on social media, they can give their take on stuff. And now that they're not employed by a organization anymore, they can kind of air out that dirt. So they can tell you the dirty laundry that's there. And even the ones that are still employed, like the Aaron Rodgers, who could be on the way out, who could be there. He's got he's in the driver's seat. He can say what he wants, but he also has to, respectfully say the right things for the organization not to get too ticked off.
They're giving him $160 million. At this point, he has the leverage. He can say what the hell he wants. Like when you the thing I've learned about like players, like when you waiting to get that contract, you don't want to mess up that opportunity to get that big contract. But once Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson prior to his situation, Aaron Rodgers, once you see these guys get that contract, now they can say what the hell they want. Because no matter what, you still owe me this guaranteed money right here. Like if my guaranteed money is $100 million, I'm gonna at least get this $100 million. I can screw up the rest of it, but I'm gonna at least get this $100 million. So in their heads, it's like, look, I'm gonna bust my ass for a few years. They might want to franchise me and do this dumb shit. But once I get that money, I can say what the hell I want. Because now, I mean, give me my money or trade me or listen to what I gotta say. Like Aaron Rodgers' situation, I don't know if anyone heard the Candy Mane interview, but everything that he said to me was perfect. Like at the end of the day, it's an organ. Like you get when you go to a company, you go into the company because for the culture, the organization, and they pay you well. I mean, let's keep it real, right? And if one of those three things is not working for you, you're gonna feel some type of way, especially when you can go to a different organization with the same amount of money but has a better culture. So I have no issues with anything Aaron Rodgers said. I'm happy he said everything that he said.
Yeah, I got no issues with anything Aaron Rodgers said or Julio Jones said.
Or Julio,
the good news is that, like you said, from the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
And Atlanta is okay with this happening. Like let's be honest, we all wanted to hear Atlanta say, we're going to do the best that we can to facilitate a trade for Julio Jones and make him and us happy as well. We would love to hear that. But the fact that we can hear it straight from Julio's mouth and nobody's like, okay, this is, I mean, the legalities that you said that we won't get into, everybody was pissed that it was said on the show.
Which to me was petty. It was like,
it is petty.
They said it messed up their trade, what is it? Their trade power or some bull crap like that. Like they're just being soft. Like, look, if somebody wants Julio, they're gonna get Julio.
They're going to get a good return package back for Julio regardless. Like the guy's a Hall of Famer. He still has a lot of gas left in the tank. More power to him. So with
trying to win.
Where do you think he's going to end up landing? What would be an ideal place? Because right now they're throwing the Patriots and AJ Brown has the biggest hard on for this man. In the AJ Brown. I don't see that happening though, because that team, they've got the dreadnought and they've got a young core of receivers. I just don't see the dreadnought not having enough shine on that team and going to Julio. But anything can happen.
So remember, I said it a couple episodes ago when we were talking about what will make Aaron Rodgers happy. I said just go get Julio Jones. I said it a couple episodes ago, and I'll stick to that. That's what I think should happen. If y'all want to keep, go ahead.
Can I tell you one funny thing?
What's up?
What if what if they trade Jordan Love
for Julio?
Trade Jordan Love for Julio.
That's what I've been saying for weeks now. I'm like, look, if y'all want to make Aaron Rodgers happy, y'all go fire Gutekunst, whatever his name is, and y'all go trade Jordan Love, and in return for Jordan Love, you get a weapon. You get Julio Jones to line up on the other side of Devontae Adams. You still have Aaron Jones. You still have why wouldn't you do that? Listen,
you have the tight end. But even at that, you're expected to go to the NFC Championship, and you play against who? The Buccaneers, most likely.
Yeah.
And who does Julio Jones roast all the time? He doesn't get any touchdowns.
The whole NFC South. But listen, also on top of that, remember we're doing our mock drafts. You had Atlanta drafting a quarterback, correct?
Mm-hmm.
They need a quarterback. Wouldn't that be perfect? Go get Jordan Love to develop him for a couple of years. You get rid of Julio. You don't have to deal with his contract no more. You got Kyle Pitts for the future. You got Calvin Ridley for the future. Like to me, that's the perfect trade that should happen, right? But I don't think Green Bay is going to get rid of Gutekunst because it's Green Bay. So with that being said, at some point, Aaron Rodgers is going to, because he didn't show up to voluntary workout, so he's going to hold out, and they're eventually going to trade him. They'll probably trade him to the Broncos. So Green Bay will be off the table for Julio Jones. Julio could honestly end up in Tennessee, but I also see Baltimore as an option as well.
Baltimore would be a good spot for him.
I think that's a perfect person for Lamar, because Lamar needs physical, tall receivers, and Julio is a physical, tall, and fast receiver. Like he's literally the perfect receiver for Lamar Jackson. So if he can have Hollywood, they drafted what's his name, Rashad Bateman, and then they get Julio and Mark Andrews, and the running game. Like I think that would be in a very ideal situation. So if Tennessee could pull it off, more power to them. But Baltimore would be like the team. I would be like that would be a good pickup for you guys. Trade like a first and maybe a couple seconds. I don't know, whatever it takes. So yeah, whatever it takes. Go get, because Baltimore not a Super Bowl contender
every year?
Okay, so why wouldn't you go get Julio Jones to secure that? Because last year they went and got Dez Bryant. Julio Jones is 30. No offense to Dez, but Julio Jones is 30 times better than Dez Bryant. Okay, so go get me Julio. Our defense is going to be good. We have weapons to throw the ball to that's not named Snead and all these other Duvernay and all that. Like, go get you some real dogs and then make that happen. And then the Patriots, I know we hear that. That would be good for Cam to have that option too. Kind of like Lamar and Cam both need a Julio on their team. So the Patriots to me would be third. So I'd go Ravens, Titans, Patriots in that order.
I think the Patriots are linked to it. I just think that's not going to happen as much as.
Why wouldn't you think that would happen? Remember, it's Bill Belichick we're talking about.
It is Bill Belichick. It is a wild card. It's a wild card Bill Belichick. It's not the same Bill Belichick because it doesn't fit the Bill Belichick mold for what is there.
You don't think so? He went and got Randy Moss.
Yes and no.
He went and got Chad Johnson.
But Chad Johnson's tenure there wasn't that long.
But he still got him.
He did.
He went and got Randy. He went and got Chad.
He did. I just feel like it doesn't fit the mold for the quarterback that Cam Newton is. Cam Newton needs a lot of tight ends, a lot of short route guys. And the thing about Julio Jones, though, is that he's any type of caliber receiver you want.
Exactly.
You want a deep threat, he's there. You want a double coverage guy, he's there. You want a slant guy, he's there. He can do it all. So I think with Bill, I think he broke the bank enough this year that he doesn't need to break it anymore. But Julio Jones, in my opinion, is a guy you go all out for. You go balls to the wall for.
If you're that close to a Super Bowl, you go get a Julio Jones. I don't see why wouldn't you do that? Like to me that's a common sense thing. So I think Bill should definitely do that, but that's besides the
I do
point.
too. I wish that, I mean, I hope the Jets give a call and entertain something, but I
He
don't
gonna hang
expect
up
it.
the phone
Yeah, they're like, oh, who
because he
called
said I
me?
want to win. No
They
offense.
said they said the Giants or the Jets. They said don't pick up either or.
He
So
was like, "What's his New York number?" I'm gonna just drop this shit right quick.
yeah, man, they. I'm not expecting if he landed, that'd be great, but I don't think it's gonna happen. The team that I do think you did say the Ravens. I think that would be a great spot to him. I don't know what they're looking like over there, and with the whole Dez thing, I feel like they brought Dez in to be a mentor,
Well,
but
Dez
Dez
not
did.
even there no more. I don't think so.
No, he's not. But I feel like they brought Dez in to be a mentor, and Dez didn't want to be the
No,
mentor.
they
Dez wanted
brought Dez because they needed a big receiver, and
to use
he
him. They didn't use him.
they don't know
So
how to. He's old. I mean, he's not the same.
yeah, they're about the same age though. Him and
Yeah, but
Dez.
Julio's still elite.
Yeah,
Dez was coming off an ACL tear and a couple years off from football. Like Dez was it wasn't a bad signing. It was just bad timing. Julio
yeah.
to me would be perfect timing, perfect signing.
So I think the place that I think he could land, if it's not Tennessee or Patriots at the top two that he's linked to, the Cardinals are off the table in my opinion. Even though D Hopkins is throwing all these things out there, but on the West Coast,
Ooh.
the Chargers. I think the
No,
Chargers.
I was going with somebody else on the West Coast.
I think the Chargers would be a good spot for him. They need a receiver. Keenan Allen's getting kind of old. He's showing the wear and tear. I know Julio's a little bit old, but you give him a kind of same player Matty Ice is when he was young. He likes the deep ball. He can throw it all over the field. And Julio Jones, loves to be a receiver, not a contained receiver. So,
Mm-hmm.
so I think
I got somebody in the West Coast.
Who do you think?
The Seahawks.
I feel that's a nice
Listen,
one.
listen. Russ was campaigning to get Antonio Brown. Russ was campaigning to bring Josh Gordon in. Russ has been campaigning for a while to get a lot of these other guys in. Julio would be somebody he should be campaigning for as well. So he really wanted Antonio and he really wanted Josh Gordon. Why wouldn't he want Julio Jones? Because I'm pretty sure, remember I told you weeks ago when Russell was thinking about leaving, it's because the offense is not conducive to winning. They want to run, right? But I'm like, Russell doesn't want to just run the ball. Russell wants to air that bitch out. So if he had DK, he got Lockett, and he has Julio on the field, that's exactly the kind of offense that Russell Wilson wants to. That to me would be all right. I'm happy here in Seattle. I'm happy. Y'all did that for me. I'm happy.
I wouldn't be opposed to that. I don't know if it'll happen,
Because
but
think about it, they brought Josh Gordon in. You don't think Julio's way better than Josh Gordon?
yeah, absolutely. Julio's
Why do you think they went and got Josh Gordon for? The drug guy.
Because they got him for cheap and they saw the talent there. That's why.
Because they got him for cheap. That's a good point. That contract, Julio's contract is kind of expensive, so
yeah,
that is a good point.
13 million there. That's the thing. That's the big issue there.
That's fine.
So he'll make any of your quarterbacks better. And if they don't get better with Julio Jones, you got to get rid of that guy, obviously.
So I was looking at NFL.com earlier today, and they had the team that are linked to the Julio Jones. Somehow I saw a green bird in there. I was like, is that an eagle? He was an eagle. I'm like, why would ain't no way he coming to Philly? That don't make no sense. But I'm just saying.
They put the Jets on there too. But
I'm just saying. Yeah, I heard the Colts are a dark horse too.
Yeah, but how many more receivers are they gonna go get? That's the question.
Well, remember when we're doing our free agency, mock free agency, we kept saying the Colts for everybody. Galladay, Juju, everybody. So dark horse
number one. So it could happen.
Yeah.
So with that being said, Atlanta's definitely in a rebuild mode. I mean, you hate to see the guy go because he's been the face of the franchise for the longest, even though people will say Matty Ice Matt Ryan is the real face of the franchise there. I beg to differ. I think it's been Julio Jones. So with that being said,
they'll never say a receiver is a face of the franchise, unfortunately.
Yeah, they won't. So do you think he's next to go on the list?
Cool. Matty?
Yeah.
They don't have a backup.
It's true, but I mean, if the pickings were right and you can get something for him, would you struggle with the year or?
He however long his contract stays, he's still there for. He's there for.
He's there.
If they were serious about they would have drafted in the first round this year. Like Green Bay drafted Jordan Love last year. If they were serious about that, they would have went and got one of these 5 quarterbacks that was available, or even
Yeah.
they would have at least went and got Kyle Trask or something. To me, they still got. They're probably gonna ride it out for another year or two with Matt, and then wait for next year. I know Caleb Williams from Oklahoma comes out next year. There's some dudes coming out next year, so I think they'll probably wait for next year. But
Yeah, it's
I
just
think, yeah, I think he's if anybody's, I mean, no one to me outside of Julio, the team that they have right now is the team that they're going to the season with, and all 17 games they're gonna play is gonna be the same guys. I don't think they're adding a. Besides, I mean, Julio obviously is gonna be gone, but that's
it's
about it.
just it's just hard to imagine like they wouldn't want to try it 1 year with Julio Jones on this team.
They want.
I
I'm
know,
sure they do. I'm
I
sure they
know,
do. I
I
mean, to
know.
me, if they,
I'm just saying from like Julio's standpoint, I'm surprised he doesn't want to try with with the emergence of Kyle Pitts there.
you know
So
why? Because
because you're in win mode at this point, you're getting older. You want to
if
win.
the division was winnable, I think they would be more focused on winning this year. But the Bucks are winning the division. Like, we're just gonna keep it real. Like, the Bucks are the best team in the NFC right now, in my opinion.
I
And
agree.
to me, they know that look, Matt getting old. We got Kyle Pitts, he's young. Calvin Ridley is gonna be our receiver for the next 10 years. Running back, we just got Mike Davis.
Yeah.
But I feel like they right if they try to win now with that bad defense, they're just gonna set themselves up for failure anyway. So you might as well acquire draft picks and really start setting yourself up for the future, but stay respectable at the same time because Arthur Blank ain't trying to see him just lose. So if I was the Falcons, I would try to win now. But I mean, they played the Bucks well last year. They played the Chiefs well last year, so they're not far away. But the defense is atrocious. So until they
Yeah.
fix that defense, there's really no point in trying to win right now.
Yeah, they're doing the Cowboys routine. We'll just keep drafting offensive guys.
Cowboys defense is atrocious. I mean, they got Michael Parsons.
Yeah.
So you got to give them that. They got Michael Parsons.
Let's not focus on the Cowboys. Just stick with the Atlanta.
I know. I hate talking about that. I hate talking about the
Cowboys. But yeah, man, they just it's kind of crazy. They just don't focus on the things they need. But I agree with you on that. I don't think Matty Ice is on the hot seat just yet. If it comes down to they haven't won anything and a team that's going into the playoffs and needs quarterback help, needs someone to take over the reins, I feel like Matty Ice is that guy for you. Yep. And then you bite the bullet and trade it and get it if you can. But I highly doubt that I see him playing out in Atlanta. And
what's going to happen, kind of like with Matt Stafford, they're like, look, Matt, we're going to send you to a contender. Enjoy, right? It's going to be the same thing with Matt. Like, look, man, we're going to send you to a contender. Enjoy yourself and good luck for the next couple of years and enjoy. You know what I mean? That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, we'll still invite you to the company Christmas party type thing.
Hey, you still got to. We still got to. I mean, he took him to the Super Bowl. Okay, he was 28-3 against the Dynasty Patriots. So it's not like he's terrible. That was a coaching error that happened in that game. So not like he's a bad quarterback, and he can win you a Super Bowl. It's just everything needs to kind of be in place for that to happen. So
yeah, just don't play against Bill. All right, let's go to the next topic. Both Los Angeles teams are in the playoffs. One is favored to win it all at being the 7th seed somehow, and the other one has always been talked as their biggest rival, but
no. The Celtics are the biggest rival to the Lakers.
I mean,
the Clippers,
right now,
the Clippers are the team that's paying rent in the basement.
They are, but at the same time, LA loves to hype the two up as two big rivals because they've got two big players on each team.
And hey, Rod, what defines a rival?
What defines a rival?
Mm-hmm.
History, I guess. And
the other team has to have been successful against you.
Yeah.
The other team has 0 championships.
People don't look in the past; they're looking in the now. So let me phrase that. Their biggest adversary in the West right now is the other team that occupies the stadium with them. And on top of that, they folded and kind of bitched and didn't want to play them. So they lost a couple games so they wouldn't see the Lakers in the playoffs. So what I'm getting to is game 1, the Lakers lose to the Suns, not bad, by 5. And Luka takes down the Clippers their first game. Game 2, we have a LeBron sighting and him amping up his team to do better. You saw him get in KCP's face and say, I want you to take those
Shoot
shots.
that shit, K.
Yeah, exactly. He wants his play. That's one thing I've learned about LeBron is he doesn't want to carry the team anymore. He wants them to have accountability. So
He's
the media,
36.
exactly. You know, you don't want the media up your ass all the time on all this shit. And I get that, but at the same time, like basketball's a team game. Like you want guys to get better with you throughout the ride. I feel like this year the Lakers aren't gelling though, but and in due time they can start. But the other thing is Luka decided to play Debo and take the cookies from the Clippers in game 2
Snatching
again.
chains.
Yeah, man. So the Clippers, we've said it all year, I think you and I. We said that getting rid of Lou Williams was kind of a dumb move because that's your explosiveness off the bench. They don't have a bench going forward. They have 2 guys on the court who can score, a couple guys who can rebound, one guy who can just play the yard dog and bark all day, but he ain't got no bite.
No bite.
No bite.
No bite.
And you got the floor general in Rajon Rondo, but I feel like he's not getting enough PT to be out there. So it's what team of these should be more worried in the playoffs, the Lakers or the Clippers?
How simple do you need this to be?
I mean, I got my answer. I know you.
Listen, my brother, listen to me, man. Luka Doncic, man. Listen, when LeBron James and Anthony Davis wake up in the morning, they gotta see, they think about Devin Booker, they think about DeAndre Ayton. Chris Paul, unfortunately, his shoulder's messed up, so they don't think about him as much. But that's it, right?
Yeah.
No offense to them. When Kawhi and Paul George wake up in the morning and they gotta see Luka Doncic in their dreams, in their nightmares, standing over them, like, yo, Luka Doncic is literally already that dude. Like he's, when LeBron James made it to the NBA Finals in 2007 at 22 years old with that trash ass team, I thought that was the most impressive thing I've ever seen. Right? Luka Doncic, what he's doing right now, I don't think he's gonna make it to the finals. Okay, let's be real. Okay, but what he's doing right now reminds me of a 22-year-old LeBron, where like this dude he's scaring the league. Cause why? Not only is he like, I've been hearing all the stats all day, right? He's played 8 playoff games his whole career. All of them against the Clippers. All of them against the same Clippers, led by Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. He's averaging 31, 10, and 9 against that same team. And that's and Steve Ballmer and Skip Bayless and all these damn people in the damn media try to convince me and us, the world, that Kawhi and Paul were the second coming of Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. And I was so offended every time I heard that. I'm like, what are we talking about here? Everyone told me Kawhi was the greatest player in the world and Paul George is this, that, and the third. And here comes little old Luka, 21, 22, young man from Slovenia, coming in and snatching their chains, barking back at, he's telling Pat Bev is the one that talks the most shit in the world, right? He's talking shit to Pat Bev, and Pat Bev has nothing to say back to him. I've never seen Pat Bev bite his tongue. He has nothing to say. So we want to talk about who's the most worried? If Pat Bev, the leader of your little dog pound, who's always barking and shit, has nothing to say to Luka, the young man Luka, 20, like he's in his 3rd year, and he has nothing to say, them boys is done. Them boys, the reason why the Clippers play the Lakers so well, because somehow Pat Bev gets into the Lakers' heads, and they all follow that you know what I'm saying, like that little DMX Dart Man X energy that he gives off to the Lakers. But when Luka's in town, that little Chihuahua shit, they like poodles now. Like they just soft and just, it's just, real cat-like. And I'm saying right now, it's 2-0 as this show is being recorded. And I don't think they're gonna sweep them, but damn. What do we always say about the Clippers? It's the Clippers, man. The Clippers are gonna clip. They've never, like, when they had Lob City, they always find a way to mess it up. When they had Q Rich and all the boys, and Elton Brand, they find a way to mess it up. The
Yeah.
Clippers and loving basketball. They made fun of the Clippers. Like the Clippers are the damn Clippers. Why did the world? It's like the world's begging the Clippers to be good and to be great, but Luka Doncic, that's a bad boy. They call him Baby Bird. That's a bad boy.
Yeah, and I also think that Luca playing in Europe and playing at a high level and winning everything that he did there has set him up for success in the NBA as well. So, in my opinion, go out and get every Euro player, a player that's played in Europe and surrounded around Luca, and
Well,
you'll be
yeah,
good.
if they played in like Real Madrid, Spain, or like those big teams, that's what he came from Real Madrid because a lot, Greece, like they got to come from like they got to be cut like that. Like Luka's been playing professional since he was 15. This shit's easy for him. Like these,
Absolutely.
bruh, Pat Bev.
Yeah, but
Oh,
back to my thing too. Like I got no ill will against Kawhi Leonard. I think Kawhi Leonard is probably one of the top 10 best players in
of
the
course,
NBA.
yeah, I like Kawhi.
He can't do it by himself, but I just don't think Paul George is the right thing
He
for Kawhi.
played well. Game one and game two, he played well.
We haven't had a pandemic P sighting, which is good.
He missed a dunk last night, but that's about it.
He did, but he also broke Porzingis' ankles.
He
like
did, but Porzingis got slow ass feet. So.
He's also 7 foot, like
7'3" with slow
yeah.
feet.
Yeah. So, I mean, the thing is, Luca is set up for success. He's just a freak. Everybody thought he was going to be MVP this year, but they had a slow start. They kind of picked it up towards the end, and he doesn't have a great supporting cast around him. But if you look at his numbers, they're doing great. And the Clippers, like you said it, they're the Clippers. Lob City, it was a great team. They put great bench players, everything there, just unfortunate injuries every time, or the choking in the playoffs.
Choke. That's what they do. They were up 3-1 last year. They choked too.
They give you great teams, great jerseys, great fan atmosphere. They'll take Billy Crystal from you and make him the number
fan
one
atmosphere. Outside of Billy Crystal, who else they got?
I mean, for the longest, Lob City, they didn't hear like the Lake Show. The Lake Show came back eventually, but it was Lob City, and they had the entertaining fans. They had the cool owners and Steve Ballmer out there with the stupid dancing and all that.
Dumbass pom ass dancing.
He's a good owner. He's a good owner though.
I know he's a nice guy.
Yeah, he's get some Microsoft people in there. That's all good.
Shout out to Bill Gates.
Yeah, lady sliding that man's DM. But
hey, my dog Bill.
Dudes too, man.
My dog. Listen, my dog Bill. I was like, okay, damn, my bad, dog.
But I think if you've got all of this promotion, all of this hype, like you said, the second coming of, Pippen and Jordan, and you can't get out of the second or third round, and you also lay down to knowing that, oh shit, if we win this game, we could see LeBron, and we don't want that. So
they don't want smoke.
To the Thunder? Come on, to the Thunder?
They don't want smoke. They don't want the smoke, dog.
Who said it? Who said it the other day that I think it was Stephen A. said nobody is scared of the Lakers. Like, I'm not scared of them. Stephen A., I love you, man. I agree with a lot of the things that you say, but yo, man, be afraid of the Lakers because when that turns on, it's another ball game for sure.
They don't. You see, listen. I don't want to. I didn't want to take this segment to talk about the Lakers, but you asked me because you said which LA team was more scared, right? So I'm allowed to talk about the Lakers right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Lakers are not scared of nobody. They literally played half the season without two of the top 5 players in the whole National Basketball Association. Found a way to get into the playoffs. Nobody wanted them in the play-in game. Nobody wanted to get that 2 seed. The Clippers tried to avoid them. Imagine trying to avoid a 7 seed, A-Rod. Imagine trying to avoid a 7 seed.
It's unheard of.
They don't want to. And then I was watching the game yesterday and with LeBron and them. And in the beginning of the game, I'm like, oh, the Suns are scared. The only person that's not scared of the Suns is Jay Crowder and Devin Booker. And Chris Paul, but he's not healthy. The rest of them boys, I can just see it on their face. They're not trying to deal with them. It's going to go back to LA. AD's mad. LeBron is still getting his legs back. LeBron is playing on a messed up ankle, right? But now his jump shot's good. It's like it doesn't. He's either driving to the basket and he gonna get to the basket, or now he's making turnaround fadeaways from 20 feet. He making step back threes from 25 feet. Like
in Steph's face.
In Steph's face, in Saric's face, in Crowder's face, in anybody's face, right? So the Lakers are not worried about these boys. Now, let me get back to the Clippers. I'm going to ask you a question. They play, to me, they play well enough in game 1 and game 2 to win this, to be up 2-0. Whose fault is it that they're not up 2-0, in your opinion? Or at least 1-1?
I
split the pie up. Like, who would you give percentage of blame to?
Every time I like talk about the Clippers, all I think of is Homeboy Supreme Dream when he does the Doc Rivers impression.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, Ty Lue, don't let him tear you down, Ty. Like, put Paul George on the phone."
Yeah.
I want to point at Paul George all the time, man, but I can't because he played well. He did
low hanging fruit.
Huh?
He's a low hanging fruit.
He's a low hanging fruit because he asked for the smoke and he'll receive the smoke, and he deserves the smoke most of the time.
Yeah.
Why? Dude, he has monstrous dunks. He has great shooting, steals. He does it all. He it's hard to put it on him because he's an NBA champion too. I don't know who it is. I would put it all on the bench because when you looked at that box score, nobody was scoring on the bench. There was no bench, so you gotta have performance out of your bench, and not having a Montrezl Harrell there or a Lou Williams, who were both
6 men of the year.
6 men of the year, and last year Montrezl won it with the Clippers, and Lou Will was in the final vote too. So not having your 6 men, everybody knew that the Clippers probably had the best bench in basketball last year, and this year they don't. They have soon to be assistant, maybe head coach, and Rajon Rondo there, but what's he gonna do for you against Luka Doncic? Because Luka's him, but younger.
Listen,
maybe better.
Listen.
He can score.
Last year, they tried to blame everybody. They blame Doc Rivers.
Hold on. You know what I blame this on? I blame it on analytics. That's what I blame it on. I blame this on analytics.
Let's go. Listen, it's a lot because, Microsoft, Steve Ballmer, he's an analytics dude. That makes sense. That's why he's paying Luke Kennard $64 million. Nicholas Batum, his horrible ass, they're paying him money. Serge Ibaka can't even get on the court no more. What's his name? Zubac, he's terrible. Got slow feet. Rondo, they traded Lou Williams for Rondo, and then Rondo didn't play a lot of minutes last night. Like, what kind of sense does that make? They had Terrence Mann or something playing in the fourth quarter yesterday. They got this random ass rookie playing in the fourth quarter. Like, listen, they blamed Doc Rivers last year. Doc Rivers is not there no more. They blamed Trez because Trez didn't like Kawhi and Paul George. Trez is not there no more. They blame Lou Williams. Lou Williams not there no more. So who's there? Ty Lue. He's the one that's running the show. Kawhi Leonard is a great player. But I've been saying this for 3-4 years now. When he was in San Antonio, he wasn't a leader of that team. When he was in Toronto, he wasn't the leader of that team. That was Kyle Lowry's team. Now you pay him top dollar to be the leader of your team. Kawhi Leonard.
It was Kyle Lowry's team with his cool friend there. It's like the cool friend around everybody.
So Kawhi talent on the court is a phenomenal athlete, like top tier. He's one of to me top 7 player in the league. Last year, if you asked me, I said he was number 3. Now I got Luke at number 3, but we're not gonna talk about that right now. But Kawhi, as great as a player as he is, you got to be able to rally the troops. Listen, you were just talking about it. KCP was terrible yesterday, and LeBron passing the ball still in the fourth quarter, and he didn't shoot. He passed the ball to Schroeder, and it was a shot clock violation. And LeBron pulled him aside and yelled at him, and KCP took it as respect. Why? Because it wasn't disrespectful. It's leadership. That's what leadership is. Kobe Bryant was a leader. Michael Jordan, like, you're going to compare Kawhi to Kobe and Michael Jordan, you need to be a leader. Kawhi is not that kind of a leader. Like, you can only lead by example so long.
Kawhi is kind of like KD, in my opinion. Like, he just loves the game of basketball and loves to play it. Just get him the right team around him, and he'll do his job.
You see who do you think the leader is in Brooklyn? If you had to pick a player,
I would want to say Kyrie, but I wouldn't want to listen to anything Kyrie says.
I think it's James Harden. I think James Harden is their leader. Because I feel like James Harden is like in Golden State. Draymond was the leader, Steph was the alpha, and KD was the baller. And in Brooklyn, James Harden is the leader. Kyrie is just Kyrie, and KD is the baller, right? And even when he was in OKC, Russell Westbrook was the leader of that team. KD's just the baller. He's just the better baller on the team. But being the best basketball player doesn't make you the best leader. And I think Kawhi, and is never gonna at this point, Kawhi's never gonna be that kind of player. So what teams need to do moving forward, Clippers, or he's got linked to you guys, New York. He got linked to Miami. You can't have Kawhi be the leader of your team. It has to be somebody like that's why you can blame Ty Lue, you can blame Steve Ballmer, like Rondo. Rondo needs to be on the court so he can be a leader for Kawhi. That's why they got Rondo in the first place.
Why did you trade for him not to play? Because he has a ring, he has rings, and he has played in the playoffs, but didn't play in the playoffs. It doesn't make any sense.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of blame to go around, but back to the original question, the Clippers should be shaking in their boots because Luka Doncic is riding that bike like Devo, looking for chains, looking for jewelry. Don't imagine somebody who's like significantly younger, and he's like coming in here to snatch your chain, talk shit to your face, and you got nothing to say. Like, here you go, sir. Like Patrick Beverly. I'm sorry, sir. I don't want to defend you, sir. Like Luka was looking for him on the pick and roll. Like, yo, come here. Let me cook you real quick.
Exactly.
You're too small, Pat. You're too small. I love it, bro. I love Luka. Remember I told you I have a short list after LeBron retires. Who my favorite players are going to be? John Morant, Luka. Luka is my favorite player after LeBron's gone.
He's definitely very entertaining to watch, man. I like watching him play. I think like when he gets this spree of the texts that he's been getting, like the technical fouls, like they're like accidental. They're not like malicious. And
which is funny.
Like, exactly.
It's so funny that he's one of the people that lead the league in technical fouls. I'm like, Luka? What? It's
crazy.
Luka Doncic?
It's crazy. And probably the leader is Boogie Cousins, and he's not on the team still.
Boogie's on the Clippers too, which is crazy.
Sorry, I forgot Boogie's there.
No, imagine they got Boogie, they got Kawhi, they got Paul George, they got Rondo, they got Ty Lue, coach.
It's two guys.
Serge.
It's just we'll get to my next question really quick, but what my thing with the Clippers is they have the right head coach in Ty Lue. I think he can manage these two guys. I just think these two guys aren't the right two players to play with each other. I feel like Paul George wants to be the alpha male, but he can't because he doesn't have a ring and he has to play under a Kawhi Leonard. And
Paul George is not built to be an alpha male. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't think he is either.
Jimmy Butler is more built to be an alpha male than he is. I think Paul's a better player, but Jimmy Butler is a leader. Like he's a leader.
If he can sell coffee for $17, then I mean Jimmy Butler's it, man.
Exactly.
So the series, we're in 2 games already. The Lakers and the Suns are 1-1. I think that's gonna steer the course, and we're gonna get a good series out of that as long as Chris Paul is healthy. We'll have a good series back in LA in the next game. I think the Lakers are okay to win that series still. I guess I think you think the same way too. What do the Clippers have to do, I guess, since they're down 0-2 to Luka? What do they have to do to get out of this hole then and progress into the playoffs like we want them?
They need to pray Luka don't show up to game 3. If he show up to game 3, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, listen, I'm watching the Laker game on the TV and I'm watching the Clipper game on my iPad. And I'm like, yo, Luka's too smart for them. They double team him. He kicks. They find an open man. And it's Tim Hardaway making threes. They're Finney Smith making threes. Kristaps, your boy, pulling up from 30, making threes. Kristaps is getting easy dunks down low. Like, it's so easy when you play basketball the right way. And remember, Rick Carlisle is an amazing basketball coach. He beat the Big 3 Heat. He's been there, done that for a while now. Like, he's a very good basketball coach. Do you think he fears Kawhi and Paul George? Absolutely not. So the only way they got to win game 3. Obviously, if you don't win a game, if Luka has a bad game 3 and the Clippers can pull it out, now we have a series. But they gotta play defense. They can't be leaving people open. They gotta put Rondo in longer. Like they can't have Pat Bev and Reggie Jackson on the floor because Luka's killing both of them. They need to keep Rondo. They need to start Rondo. Keep him on Luka. They need to put Kawhi on Luka, but Kawhi needs to score 40. So it's not looking good. I'm gonna keep it real. It's not looking good because if you can shoot, if the what's that team called? The Mavericks. If they can shoot that well on the road, what do you think they're gonna do at home? Like, what do you think they're gonna do? Like, they're comfortable at home. They played that well on the road. Now they're gonna come home. I don't feel too good about. If I'm a Clipper fan, all five of them, I'm not feeling too good about. I'm not feeling too good about this series. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah. So obviously I'm a Knicks fan. Obviously, everybody knows that. I've seen Kristaps Porzingis play. I know the way he plays, and he's definitely a shell of himself from what he was in New York. He's definitely not given the keys to the city, and he's learned to take the back seat to Luka. But Luka will also get him his shots and make him a better player. He's a unicorn for a reason because he can play down low. Yep. Yes, his feet are slow.
He's okay down low. He's not great down. He's
not great down low, but against Zubac, he's pretty good down low.
Because Zubac is trash, but that's neither here nor there. My bad.
He's decent. He's decent down low in this series, and he's also a unicorn once again, like I said, because if he can pull up and pull that three, he's nice from outside, and he has a good jumper. And I've always loved this guy. You know, go Big Blue, Tim Hardaway.
Blue, baby.
I love the guy. When the Knicks drafted him, I was mad when they sent him to the Hawks for a shit ton of money when he signed and then brought him back again.
I remember that.
Again. But when Tim Hardaway is scoring 28 points against the Clippers, Tim Hardaway at best should be scoring 15 points. If you're letting this guy shoot out the gym, I know he's got daddy's DNA in him and he's a hell of a shooter, but the Clippers weren't they supposed to be linked to being one of the best defensive teams in basketball?
Clippers?
Yeah.
They got Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen Jr. What are you talking about? Of course they are, right? I can't tell.
You can't have guys like that.
I can't tell.
So
they leaving Hardaway open. They're leaving Josh Richardson open. They're leaving Finney Smith open. Jalen Brunson getting buckets. Kristaps is open. Like this is what's happening. It's either you go one-on-one against Luka and Luka gonna kill you. You double Luka and Luka gonna find an open man. So what can you do? Absolutely nothing. There's absolutely nothing they can do because they don't have. The only thing they can do is Kawhi needs to sacrifice offense and play lockdown D on Luka. That's the only way it's gonna work. Like he needs to sacrifice. He needs to go San Antonio Kawhi, where he was a lockdown defender in San Antonio, and then the offense came after the fact. He needs to resort back to that, but that team is not built properly enough for them to accomplish that. So right now, the Clippers are only built to play with the Lakers. They're not built to beat anybody else, and that's the problem. They focus so much energy on the Lakers, only to avoid them in the first round to get cooked by Luka Debo. So, yeah, this is what's going to happen.
It's not looking good.
It's bleak. It's looking bleak right now.
My thing is like Luka is going to score. We all know Luka's going to score. Luka having a bad game is very rare, and a bad game to him is 12 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds.
A bad game to him is his field goal percentage is really low. He goes like 7 for like 40 or some shit. Like that's about it.
My X factor is the unicorn and Timmy Hardaway Jr. Man, don't let them boys go off. If Timmy Hardaway Jr. is scoring damn near 30. You've lost this game.
Y'all gonna keep me open for real all night? That's what y'all really want to do?
That guy that sits at the top of the key and just like you got to run up to him because it's gonna get kicked out of him, or you're like, oh, let him shoot. Timmy,
please let me shoot. Please let me shoot.
All right, so we've been basically praising Luka Doncic this entire time, and the young talent in the NBA is definitely getting better and better and better and more exciting that we get to see.
Young boys.
We got 3 guys that are in. I don't want to put anybody on the Knicks just yet. They're exciting young team to watch, but we've got household names in Luka, Doncic, John Morant, and Trae Young. who
Trigger Trey Young. Sorry,
who
bro. I
yeah,
left you alone that night. I did.
I know.
I left
I'm
you alone.
if anybody who watches the show knows me and has my number, please don't text me during Knicks games. Don't tell me anything. I'm not going to respond to you. I'm not going to look at it. I'm very superstitious when it comes to the Knicks because they're a team.
Same.
They get the city amped, they get their fans so amped, and they crumble. And we saw that game one because they looked very, very good. They hit a lot of good contested shots, and then it came down to Trey Young just doing the ice tray move on them at the very last second. So the good news is we're getting an emergence of young talent and their taste in the playoffs for their first go arounds and Luka's second go around into the playoffs. And I feel like the NBA is in good hands with these guys. I think these guys are good for the NBA. I think what you're seeing Dallas doing to the other Los Angeles team, as I will call them, is really good. You're getting to see a young guy take on the powerhouse of the second coming and
Yeah.
taking them and pulling their pants down and spanking their ass. And then even Ja's a great story too, because all year we didn't think the Grizzlies are going to make the playoffs because of Ja being hurt in the beginning, Jaren Jackson going down, a lot of injuries taking place. And then you get to see him go in the play-in. Yeah, they lost their first game, or no, they won their first game, didn't they?
They lost the first
They,
game to
they
San
lost.
Antonio.
That's right. But
No,
they won. They
they
beat San
won.
Antonio.
They won.
They won, yeah, because
They won.
that was the elimination game.
Correct. They won.
But he gets to knock out probably one of the greatest players of all time in Steph Curry, and that's like bittersweet. It was like a passing of the torch. Go get it, boy. It's your time to shine. And then even with Trey Young, we didn't think the Hawks were going to be anything this year, but what wins? Coaching wins. You put in the right head coach and Nate McMillan, and he goes on a winning spree.
You know, we talked about this earlier this year. We were like, why did Indiana get rid of Nate McMillan? Why the hell did they get rid of Nate McMillan?
Why does anybody get rid of Nate McMillan?
You know how stupid that looks right now? Like, it looks so dumb.
I don't even know that head coach.
So dumb.
But what I'm trying to get is I feel like the NBA is in good hands with these guys. Do you think the emerging young talent right now, like, do you want to see that, or do you want to see the old heads or the guys that we kind of know keep winning, or do you want to see a changing of the guard now?
I for one, I am so proud of these young guys right now. Even we didn't even talk about. I'm a Devin Booker fan. I know he's not even that young, but he's still young.
He's still young, yeah.
And then DeAndre Ayton too. I was a big fan of him coming out of college too.
Donovan Mitchell too.
Donovan Mitchell. So, I mean, shoot, Jamal Murray. Like, so I am so proud of these young guys right now because I remember. So we all have different eras, right? And there's always a time where that torch needs to be passed. And from the 60s to the 70s, we passed it from Bill Russell and Wilt to Kareem and Dr. J. And then I went to Magic and Bird. And then I went to Isaiah Thomas. And then I went to Michael Jordan. And then so on and so forth. Kobe, Michael, Tracy McGrady, LeBron. So we always see that torch being passed. And but as a fan, you get nervous in the moment. Like, man, like, are we ready for this torch to be passed, right? Listen, all players I grew up watching, Allen Iverson, he's out the league. T-Mac's Hall of Fame. T-Mac, Hall of Fame. Shaq, Hall of Fame. KG, Tim Duncan, and Kobe, Hall of Fame. Like, all the players I grew up watching are either in the Hall of Fame or not playing anymore, right? So now, in the current players, I got LeBron, who's old. Kevin Durant, he's getting old. Steph Curry, we didn't realize he's 33, but he's getting kind of old too. Like, all of our favorite players now, like from the most recent generation, are in their mid to late 30s. James Harden, 32. Like, so you can see, like, damn, they getting old too. But now you got Luka, who's literally already on that track of being like one of the best players ever. He's already on that track. Damian Lillard, he's been in the league for a few years now. He's on that track. Mm-hmm. Who else? Trey Young. Sorry. I didn't think Trey Young was going to be that good. I'm not going to lie. They were comparing him to Steph Curry way too early. I was like, you got to stop with this Steph Curry stuff, right? Listen, I've watched him play for the last, like, when that draft happened and the trade with Trey Young and Luka happened, I was like, man, I feel bad for Atlanta. They could have had Luka, but instead they get Trey Young, this bum. I feel horrible now because I always like to admit when I'm wrong. I was very because I thought in the college it was college Oklahoma, like no one takes Oklahoma basketball seriously, right? But it's translating well. It's translating well. He's very crafty. He's confident. I know you don't like the way he looks and his hair and everything, but it is working. And whatever he's doing is working. Luka is working. Who else did you mention?
John Moran.
John Moran had to take down Steph Curry on his whole in Golden State, in San Francisco. He had to take down Steph Curry to get into the playoffs. Then takes on the number one seed and beats them in game one. Now, I don't think they're gonna win the series. You know, that's besides the point. But the confidence that he has, I saw a meme the other day, and it's crazy because I've been thinking about this for a couple of years now. He reminds me of when Derrick Rose got into the league, when John Wall got into the league. Like he has that kind of like athleticism, could get to the cup, fearless, and that's what we want to see. Like when D Rose got in the league, we thought he was going to take the torch, right? Mm-hmm. But I feel like the guys that we have right now, this is exactly what we need. Like we have the middle, we have the not the youngest guys, but you know, in the middle we have Giannis, who's like 26, Damian like 26, 27. You know, you got some of these young, not too young, but then you got these 20, 21, and 22-year-olds. I think it's perfect because now we know that no matter what, basketball is going to keep carrying on, and it's going. And I don't like the big. We were scared the big man was going to be gone, but we got Embiid. He's a big man. He's balling. We got Jokic. He's a big man. He's balling. Bam Adebayo, big man, balling. Anthony Davis is in that class of not the youngest guys, but he's a big man. He's balling. So
the veterans, though.
So exactly. So I think the NBA is in great hands right now.
I'm talking guys like 3 or 4 years in the league right now that are finally coming into.
Jason Tatum was in his third, fourth year, balling. Jamal Murray's still young. Ben Simmons is still kind of young and he's still trying to figure it out. Like I said, Bam Adebayo, he's young, he's figuring it out. Luka. There's a lot of young dudes in the league who are just Trae Young. I mean, DeAndre Ayton was in that same draft class with Trae Young and Luka. He's in the playoffs too. De'Aaron Fox, I don't know what's going to happen with him, but he might get traded. But De'Aaron Fox is a baller. Halliburton and LaMelo Ball, we love him. Anthony Edwards, we love him. Like, there's a lot of really good talent. So it gives me hope. Like, well, at least we're still going to have good basketball after LeBron and KD retires. And because after LeBron and KD, you got Giannis and Anthony Davis. You know what I mean? So it's like it's beautiful. I think it's beautiful. And you know, like I said, I feel bad that Trae had to cook y'all like Reggie Miller, but at least you know that could be a rivalry for a few years. Like think about it, Atlanta and New York. That'd be a nice little rivalry. That's Atlanta hip hop versus New York hip hop. That's been a rivalry for the last 20 years.
I don't say about that.
Think about it. That's a good little storyline.
It could be. We'll see. But back to what you said about really quick on the D Rose. I feel like D Rose had the torch. It just freak injuries happened.
Yeah, but yeah, he had the torch. And you don't think John Morant's got that kind of skill in him?
I think he does too. I think with players like D Rose, you have to. And I'm not trying to get on a segment about D Rose. I think guys like that they have kind of like Steph. They have a different appeal because Steph can shoot anywhere. Yeah. D Rose's take was, I'm going to get to the hole and I'm going to be a contortionist and I'm going to score every time. And then that led to his downfall. He tore his ACL doing that shit.
That's what I'm scared about John Morant because John Wall has had injury. Derrick Rose had injury. That's how John Morant plays.
But Ja's a human highlight that isn't a highlight at the same time.
So is Derrick Rose is a dog. We remember Derrick Rose.
John Wall, man. John Wall, that's fucking
exactly. I missed that.
The explosive point guard is definitely fun. That's a definite plus. I feel like Derrick Rose every time his one move was just go to the hole and
just do this little thing that he was do. Yeah,
he would do it. So I think basketball right now, us looking at it as historians of a game in our eye and falling in love with these players when we were kids, and then oh no, he's gone or he sucks. I need someone else to like, and then we get to be blessed with a LeBron and Carmelo and D Wade and Chris Paul draft class, which is insane. We also got to get blessed with the 96 and 97 draft class. We got to be blessed with a lot of good draft classes, and and it was like we never thought anything bad of it. But then when we see like the Andrew, nothing against Andrew Wiggins, he's a good basketball player, but he's not like an all-star type thing. We see the Andrew Wiggins,
Jabari Parker.
Jabari Parker.
We
I
thought he
mean,
was gonna be the next what? Grant Hill or something.
but here's my other thing into stuff is that I think we got blessed with Luca and Trey because they literally went to a clean slated team, a team that was clean slate, meaning there was nobody there except for Luca he had a 1 year left on his deal retirement. Dirk Nowitzki,
Yeah.
who could just mentor him and tell him the things he needed to hear. And Luca's not going to say anything bad about his idol, of
He
course.
was there at the Clipper game.
Yeah. So I think going to those two teams, the ownership was like, okay, we know who the face of our franchise is,
Yeah.
and we're just gonna let them shoot a million times until they get it right, and we'll build around them. That's the difference between like a John Wall going to Washington and having already a Gilbert Arenas there. Who am I going to give the shine to? And of course, they did give it to John Wall eventually. But then Gilbert Arenas was ran out of town when Agent Zero did a lot for them.
Yeah.
And then they bring in Bradley Beal to pair with John Wall. And I feel like they did great together. They had a great chemistry. And then John gets hurt. Bradley Beal overtakes the shine. And then you get rid of John Wall. So
and then they bring in Russell Westbrook.
Yeah. So I think we're blessed to be able to see these players flourish with the team and have the right ownership. It's like, okay, these are our star players.
That's the important part.
Like our star player could come back next year. He might not, but we're going to groom him to be it and kind of like pull a dick move on somebody there. Because like, look at Karl Anthony Towns. There's a great example right there. Karl Anthony Towns in my eyes is a star player.
They failed him though.
But they're failing him. They're failing him bad because they're trying to build around Ant-Man now. And why they have Karl Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell there makes no sense to me. You're gonna have to clean slate.
Why you have D'Angelo and Anthony Edwards is stupid to me. Like you can't have both of those players on the same team.
You can't, and they're wasting their times there. So there's gonna have to be a breakup. So that's what I'm getting at is going to a Minnesota. You have a lot of talent there. It's just what does the organization see better in the long run? Can you win with this? They could win with that, but nobody's on the same page or wants to play. I mean, rest in peace to Cat's family that has passed away, all of that. But I just see him in his little boo thing just on social media all the time. And I feel like his head ain't in the game, man. Plus, don't date Kardashian friends or family. Like, don't do that, bro.
I have a question for you, though. So we're talking about all these potential like superstars, like the next generation, right? Mm-hmm. We're leaving out one player,
Zion.
What do they got to do in New Orleans, or what does he have to do? Like, does he need to move? Does he need to leave New Orleans, or is there something they can do to help him?
And don't say you like New York, bro. You got me really excited when you said that. But he's just a big kid. I think they'll right the ship. They just need some pieces. They had some injuries that kind of hurt them a little bit, but
you don't think John Morant had injuries?
John Morant is
John Morant, year one, rookie of the year two is in the NBA playoffs and up one game on the number one seed. Zion back-to-back years is not in the playoffs. 12 seed this year, I think.
I agree. I think once again it's analytics on a lot of stuff because they load manage these guys. So like Zion, they don't want him to bust out of a shoe again. They want him to have a long career because of his body style. Because I just say let these boys play, and when something happens and they get hurt, you rehab them the right way. You don't rush them out, and you get what you need out of them in the right time frame. So Zion and them, I can't speak for them. I think they play good basketball together. I think I'm a huge Josh Hart fan. I really am. I think losing Josh Hart for most of the season plays a big part on them because you got rid of JJ Redick.
Yeah.
I think Josh Hart is a guy who you tell him, hey, you're going to be our sixth man, or hey, you're going to be eighth off the bench and you're going to give us 5 points a game. He's going to do it, and he's going to do what he needs to get done. Mm-hmm. I don't think getting rid of Gentry was the right thing, and bringing in Stan Van Gundy. Yeah. I think they have to get one more year under his tutelage to see what happens next year. But even I like Steven Adams a lot. I just don't feel like that's what they needed there. I think Jackson Hayes is young. He fits the young mold. Run with the young kids. I know you want the experience out there.
You got to have a veteran in the locker room.
You got Eric Bledsoe, who's been shit on everywhere.
Eric Bledsoe, man. Listen, look at Milwaukee. All they had to do was swap Eric Bledsoe and Drew Holiday, and it looked like a completely different basketball team. Plain and simple. Get it. New Orleans getting rid of Drew Holiday was so dumb to me. Like that was the dumb part. Keep Drew and let him be the mentor of that team. But
He should have. And I agree. I just think that they need one more year to understand, and we'll see them in the playoffs next year. I think they'll be okay. Brandon Ingram, it's hard to come back and play like they did. You got a chip on your shoulder when you get traded away from a winning team, that wins the ship the next year. So I get the chip on his shoulder why he played so good the last year, and Zion, we got to see him come in really with a full head of steam. We got to see him even this year come in with a full head of steam.
yeah, he played really well this year, but they still suck.
Lonzo, you got to hear about your brother all the time, and
he
then
got better.
Play well, yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. What does Zion need to do? Because I think that team got better and they still suck.
I don't think it's Zion. You know what I think the real problem is with that one? I know they're a young team, so they're like an up and coming as well, kind of like the Grizzlies. I just think Lonzo Ball is the problem. I think Lonzo Ball doesn't know what he wants to be, where he wants to play. And like it's like the Lonzo Ball song. He's like, I'm gonna go in the offseason, I'm gonna drop a hot track, and I'm gonna name drop, Miami and like, oh my God, he's linked to Miami.
Yeah.
His heart is like, I don't know where his heart is in the game. So that would be my thing. I don't think it's Stan. I don't think it's Zion. I don't think it's anybody on the team. I think it's.
I blame Stan. I'm just gonna keep it real. I blame Stan.
I could blame Stan too, but he's also a brand new coach into it. Stan's got a history of winning and also having shit taken away from him immediately. Like he started winning with the Heat and they took it away from him, so.
Yeah.
And then he went to the Magic and took them to the finals, and they were like, "Okay, we're done with you, Stan."
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true. I get that. He's a good coach. I mean, he's not a bad coach, I gotta blame somebody, and I won't blame Zion. So.
Yeah, I blame it. I blame it on premature. I blame the Pelicans' problems on premature decisions from the front office, because I don't think getting rid of Gentry was the right move. I feel like Gentry was a good coach for them, and he's never given the time. He's given like a 1 or 2 year stance everywhere he goes, and he's out. And I also blame Lonzo because I just don't know where his head is in the game. As soon as you start talking shit, he plays amazing. How?
Yeah, I feel. Well, we're gonna. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of good talent in the league, and I'm great. Like I'm a basketball. Like my first love is basketball. So like whenever I know that the league's heading in this kind of direction that it's heading in right now, the Lucas and the Zions and the Treys and the Devin Bookers, the Andre, Ayton and stuff like that. There's a lot of good talent. So I think we're definitely in good hands. But out of these young guys, though, who do you think is gonna be the first to get a ring?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good question there. I don't know. At this point, if you look at the rosters, like none of them. But if you can build around one, I would say Luka. Luka is the most appealing. I would say Luka, or if we consider Donovan Mitchell in that, I would say Donovan Mitchell would be the other one.
I don't see Utah ever win. Like Utah does not strike me as a team that will win a championship.
I didn't say with Utah. I
said
getting one.
You think he's coming home to New York?
Yes.
Oh, so you think?
I love Mitchell in New York. I think what happened the other day and they deactivated him. He was a little upset about that.
I hope he's healthy, because if you come back and he's not healthy, he stinks up the joint, and Ja gets him again, that would be embarrassing. So we're gonna see. But again,
we got to see a great series with him and the Denver Nuggets
and Jamal. Yeah,
so
that was a fan, and that's why I wish Jamal was playing this. Like Jamal comes. He's a Dick Vitale calls him a PTP's primetime performer. Jamal Murray and Donovan were primetime performers, just like Luka. So to me, to answer my own question, man, Luka gonna get that next. Luka got next on all these young and old people. Luka has put the league on notice. Putting the Clippers on notice, he's put the league on notice.
I agree.
So I agree. I got Luka.
All right, so let's wrap up our show. We usually do Nick's become like the poster boy for this. Where do you go to college? Right here, our favorite segment. But today we're gonna do, we're gonna talk about one-on-one rivalries and ones that stick out to us the most. Everybody knows the Birds and Magics, the Jordans and the Jazz, whatever you want to say it. So we're gonna get
quick backstory. Why you remember the reason why I wanted to do this is because this whole golf. So golf has been dominating social media the last couple of days, and it's getting kind of weird with DeChambeau and Bruce Koepka, and now you got Phil Mickelson and Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Golf has somehow dominated the news in the last couple of days as far as like spiciness. So I was like, well, shit, let's talk about some rivalries then, because I like individual rivalries. Because apparently DeChambeau and Koepka don't like each other. So I'm like, that's cool, you know. So that's I thought that was this is a good time to kind of get to individual rivalries. So what individual rivalry have you grown up like really, really enjoying?
I'm gonna give you a couple because I had to think about this a bit. And being a Knicks fan, and I said this beginning of the show, the one thing that sticks out to me all the time being a Knicks fan is Spike Lee versus the head opponent. That's one big one that sticks out to me. I can't say of like one Knicks player and another guy that would do it, but it's the fact that Spike Lee can either, not most of the time, but try and get into an opponent's head, but the opponent comes out victorious a lot against Spike. So that's one big rivalry I have there. I know it's not two sports people, but it's sports
No,
related.
that's actually great. That's a great answer.
That's a good one. Another one,
Reggie Miller though, and Spike Lee though.
yeah, exactly. I was a kid. I remember that. I remember watching that game. I do remember watching that game. And it's crazy to see them do a 30 for 30 on it years later and actually see the verbiage.
I remember that too. My mom was a Knicks fan in the 90s, hardcore Knicks fan in the 90s. And I remember I was cheering for I used to be a Knicks fan, guys, just so you guys know, which is crazy to say, being how Philly I am right now. But because my mom was such a crazy ass Knicks fan before I was an Iverson fan, I was like, yeah, man, Reggie Miller this and Reggie Miller. I'm like, fuck Reggie Miller. But now, to me, it's funny nowadays.
Another one that you'll think is kind of crazy, but these teams saw each other a lot in the playoffs. And I felt like when they played against each other in the playoffs, like business was going to come down to business. And that's LeBron versus Deshaun Stevenson, bro. It was like 3 years ago.
Deshaun Stevenson wanted smoke from LeBron.
It was like 3 years straight of that we got to see.
Yeah.
And it was back and forth. I think one time the LeBron beat him all 3 times. Right?
Yeah, but Deshaun got him back in Dallas.
Yeah, he got him back in Dallas then. Yeah. So yeah. That was a great, because then we got to see the Lance Stevenson one kind of flourish a bit. But then Lance went to the dark side and he became
they became butt buddies.
Yeah, but that was a great rivalry you got to see. Just even the regular season they would draw at it, but playoff time it was a different Lance Stevenson you got to see, and it was a different. LeBron was LeBron, but you got to see a Lance Stevenson that was gonna put LeBron try on skates, but it wasn't gonna happen, man. He was gonna lock him down. LeBron's still gonna get 20 and some buckets on you, bro, but. That was a good one I got to witness.
Deshaun one was funny. Deshaun was funny.
He was funny.
That was funny.
If I think of any other ones while you say yours, I'll throw them out there. But those are two big ones. As a Knicks fan, I want to say also, the New York Knicks media versus the New York Knicks, because anything could happen with them. Like you would think things were all hunky-dory going great. And then you find out Raymond Felton has a gun charge and he's being escorted and then after the game, Mari Stoudemire punches a fire extinguisher.
Breaks his damn. I'm like, bro, what are you doing?
you hear that Phil Jackson is just trying to tear the team apart.
That's true.
You hear all these crazy things.
Page 6.
Exactly. You hear all of these things, why it's hard to play in New York. And it's not because it is the ownership. Fuck the ownership in New York. But the New York media
is tough.
Down, man.
Media is tough.
So all I know is like I can never get too close to players because the media might run them out of there.
So, just like Kristaps, like, get me the hell out of here, bro. I ain't trying to be here no more. Y'all tripping.
I used to hate him, but I have a lot of respect.
You understood.
I understood. Well, you know why he left really quick. He left. He didn't even go to the exit interview at the end of the year. Every player has an exit interview to say, okay, do you want to be here? Do you not? Can you see us building around you? Blah, blah, blah. He didn't even go. Because the way they treated Carmelo Anthony, who was his mentor.
Exactly.
Like, I can't be mad at him. Get your
money. They treated Melo. They did Melo dirty too. Yeah, that's true. That's facts. That's facts.
It kills me. I don't want to go on a Melo thing now. So
I got you.
All right. So what do you got?
So my easy ones, Larry Bird and Magic, because they saved the NBA. and then Michael Jordan, Isaiah Thomas, because they still haven't figured that shit out yet, right? But to me, my favorite sports rivalry was Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier. Because
That's a really good one.
listen, they used to
Never got
talk
to
that
see it.
shit.
Never got to see it. Got to see Will Smith portray it. Other people.
Yeah.
The Thriller in Manila.
The Thriller in Manila. They used to talk that. I mean, we talking about the 70s, the 80s.
That was George Foreman was the Thriller in Manila.
No, the Thriller in Manila was Frazier and Ali. The Rumble in the Jungle was Joe Frazier. Was George Foreman. The Rumble in the Jungle. But they used to talk. They used to call each other monkey this and you ugly this. I'm like, bruh, like, and it's crazy because like I like trash talkers who can back it up. Muhammad Ali was talking that shit.
The king. And
Joe Frazier's from Philly. And he was, he from Philly. He don't take that shit. And they literally boxed. Like they had round three fights. Mm-hmm. I mean, these were fights that going 15 rounds. They used to box. And they did like a story.
Hagler, but it was good.
Exactly, right? But they did like a 30 for 30 or whatever, ESPN 360 or whatever years later, and they still have beef. And then Joe Frazier was making fun of the way, because Ali had the syndrome, what was it called? Parkinson's. And Joe Frazier had something to say about that. I'm like, bro, he's sick. How dare you say something like that, right? But they had beef. Like that was probably the most entertaining. Like when you actually go listen to the sound bites and watch the interviews, they went at it. That was fun. That was definitely fun.
That was fun. I mean, I would have said that too. It's just not one that I got to witness as a kid.
Yeah, that's true.
Going back and looking at it, that's got to be one of the best, man.
Absolutely.
That dude. If you want to get an A1 shit talking skill set from someone, is definitely Muhammad Ali, man.
Absolutely.
I would just giggle at all the shit that he used to say when I was like watching clips of it. So, but that's not a bad one too. You got to have another one though that you can think of that's like
in my recent history. I mean, it's hard. Like I like Joel Embiid versus Karl Anthony Towns. But that's a personal one for me. But I mean, Draymond Green and LeBron was fun, but now they're best friends. So that was a little weird. So I don't know. A lot of rivalries don't stick like they used to. So Trae Young versus the Knicks.
Don't give me that. That's not one yet, man. So. All right. Well, I mean, that's the show for us this week. Shout out to the Pour Up for having me on last week. I made a guest.
I heard about that.
Yeah, I didn't talk sports. We talked different topics on biracial couples. So it was definitely, they wanted the Spanish insight. So I gave them the Spanish insight on stuff.
Yeah.
So shout out for them for having me on there, and shout out to all the guests that were on there as well. It was fun doing that. I love collabing with other podcasts. Podcasters for Hire. We're always here.
I'm gonna hop on with you eventually.
eventually one time. So I like to get my beak wet or get dirty anywhere that I can. So Twitter, let's go to rundown. Twitter, fair_weather_pod. You can find us there. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, the Fair Weather Podcast, and anywhere you subscribe to podcasting, you can hear the audio there.
Yep. Go Sixers. Go beating Knicks. That Wizards ass, baby.
I haven't even looked at the game yet, but I'm scared. Hopefully get a W tonight because I have these two jerseys that just came in today, and I would like to wear them with pride.
You would like to wear them in public.
One time this week, please.
All right, man. Hey, go Lightning too. Go Bolts.
Go Bolts. Finish them off.
Peace.